Welcome back, everybody. So my next movie review for you is 28 Weeks Later. But once again, before I get into this review, if you enjoy watching my reviews, if you could please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, that would be very, very much appreciated. So 28 Weeks Later was released on the 11th of May 2007. Its director was John Carlos Fresedo? Something along those lines, anyway. It was made on a budget of 15 million US dollars and made 64.2 million US dollars in the box office. The cast of this movie consists of Robert Carlyle, Rose Byrne, Jeremy Renner, we've got Idris Elba, we've got Imogen Poots, something along those lines, plus many, many others. So in this second installment in this zombie franchise, we follow London or Great Britain 6 months after the first initial outbreak of the rage virus. The US Army are there to help and to basically restore order back into London and into Britain. And basically, it isn't long before we get a second outbreak in this movie, which results in some very catastrophic and quite brutal deaths. I'm not going to lie to you. Now, I watched this movie this morning and I can generally honestly say this is a movie which might actually slightly have the edge on the first one. And I love 28 Days Later. And if you really, really want to know the reasons why, the movie review is coming up right about now. So here we go, 28 Weeks Later movie review. Now at the start of this video, I did actually say that this second installment might actually have the edge on the first one. It's been 30 minutes since I recorded that intro to actually doing this review, and I've completely changed my mind again. I really, really have. Nothing can be the first one in any way, shape or form. It's an absolutely fantastic movie with a very, very unique style from Danny Boyle, and I absolutely love it. That being said, I'm not going to slate the second installment either because I do actually get enjoyment from this. Now, right from the get-go, the opening sequence in this is absolutely fantastic and actually quite scary. You've been, not to give away any spoilers just in case you haven't seen this movie, but to be put in a situation of life and death and to make a decision, quite a big decision, in a scenario where you could actually be turned into one of these rage zombies. I think they pulled this kind of sequence off really, really well, and it has a very, very unique feel to the first movie. But from that point on, this movie does take a bit of a change to being more of a Hollywoodized kind of movie. I'm not saying it's a bad thing in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying that it just feels a little bit more Hollywoodish. Now, for about half an hour in this movie, there is a story set up. And the story in this movie is not that hard to follow. You spend most of this movie waiting for this second outbreak to happen, but there is a period of 30 minutes where there is a car coming down my lane. Wrong timing. Big time. I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to keep muddling along. So they're setting up a storyline of two kids that potentially are quite important to this virus. Again, not giving away any spoilers. They're just setting up the storyline and it becomes about them, making sure that they survive. But also, all you're really waiting for, or I found I was waiting for, is for this second outbreak to actually happen. And when it does, this movie takes a completely dramatic turn into a huge, whacking, great big bloodbath, which in a way I shouldn't say I really enjoyed watching it, and I shouldn't say that because it's quite cynical and statistical, but I did actually kind of enjoy that. It was a bloodbath. You get what you came to see, a load of zombies or a second outbreak of this zombie virus, rage virus, and I think they pull this off really, really well because there's nobody that's safe in this movie. You get to see exactly how fast this virus actually kind of spreads as well, which is kind of fitting with everything that's been going on right now, just in a different kind of scenario. And I just think they really, really pull this off very, very well. You can't get connected to too many characters in this movie. There's a big spoiler straight away for you, so I do apologise. But generally, I really enjoyed the gore side of this, and I'm not a huge horror fan, but when I was watching this, I was like going, okay, I know this is brutal. I know it's brutal as well, but it's actually scaring me a little bit. And I was just like, oh, well, if I'm watching a horror movie and it's actually kind of scaring me, it's actually doing its job. Knowing that I'm not a huge horror fan either, and I'm just getting into the horror kind of genre, I think I really enjoyed that kind of aspect, that horror aspect of this, which does make me does make me seem a little bit kind of sadistical, but in this movie, it worked. You get to see exactly what this rage virus can actually do. And I really love it. Performances in this movie are actually quite good as well. Jeremy Renner in here is probably the standout performance in this movie, I think, for me personally. The rest of the performances are kind of mediocre, okay kind of performances. But you got Robert Carlyle in this movie, and again, mediocre, kind of okay kind of performances. And I'm not saying they're not bad in any way, shape, or form, but I just don't think that we saw these actors at their full potential. Special effects in this movie are very questionable. Okay, this is the one thing that stood out for me out the whole of the movie, okay, is that there is a scene with a helicopter, and the special effects in just that little sequence was just laughable. I have to be honest with you. For a movie that I think got made on 64 million, okay, that special effects sequence in there was probably the standout and by far the worst part of this movie. It was absolutely horrendous in my personal opinion. But that was pretty much only the big problem I had with this movie, and that is just me being honest. I did get quite a fair bit of enjoyment from the horror side of this. Storyline is not hard to follow because you spend most of the movie waiting for the second outbreak to happen, and when it does, it becomes a bloodbath, which makes it actually an enjoyable watch. So if I was to give this a rating, I would give this probably a 7 out of 10, straight because of the reasons of what I said. Okay, so it's basically, storyline is not complicated in any way, shape, or form. You spend most of this first half of this movie waiting for the second outbreak to happen. There are certain visual effects in this which are extremely laughable. But apart from that, I still found myself entertained, nowhere near as entertained as the first movie, hence the reason why I will give this a 7 out of 10. It's as simple as that. So on that note, please tell me what you think. Put it in the comments down below as normal. Hope you all have a great rest of the day, whatever you're doing. Please take care, and goodbye.